If you're a beginner forex trader or even a newbie and you want to become a profitable trader or make consistent money in the market, you need to understand market structure. Now, a lot of people lose money because they don't understand this simple concept and they end up blaming forex or the trading market, but it's basically their fault, right? And I don't blame most of you, but most of the people online don't basically explain market structure the way they should, right? So in this video, it will be a full market structure masterclass, and this is basically day 2 of me teaching you how to trade forex here on YouTube. So without further ado, let me start the video. So what is basically market structure? I want you to think of market structure as a staircase, right? If you want to go up on the staircase, you basically have the steps, right? So steps are basically the thing that gradually ascend you while going up, right? That's the same thing with market structure, right? So as you can see, this, for instance, a step, most steps will obviously be like this, right? Normally, they will obviously be like this, but now in this case scenario, market structure is similar, right? It's basically like this. So it has one concept, right? The concept is basically the market goes higher, res goes higher, res goes higher. This is like you taking a huge step up, pausing, right, with your 2 feet, then taking the next step, pausing with your 2 feet, then taking the next step. And that's basically how market structure is, right? So as you can see here, from based on what I've drawn, this is basically going up, right? So this is basically going up. So this is what we call a bullish trend, right? A bullish uptrend, right? And then now let me go over to the next one, right? And I'll still explain. Same thing if you're going down on a staircase. When you're going down, you obviously gradually ascend down, right? You don't just jump off from the fourth floor going down. No, you basically go step by step, and yeah. So basically, this is what I call market structure. Okay. So now that you guys basically understand that, let me show you something that you guys basically need. A uptrend consists of two things, right? A downtrend consists of two things as well. So now for the uptrend, we have what we call a higher high and then a higher low. So a higher high is basically the highest point the market has reached. So in this case scenario, this place would be the higher high, and then this place would be the higher low. Okay, so now if I draw it again, right, if the market does this, goes back higher, right, you can see this is now the new higher high, and then this is now a new higher low. So for you guys of you who don't know, you cannot get a higher high, you cannot get a higher low without getting a higher high. So you need to have the higher high first before you get the higher low. So how do you know where the higher low is, right? So you basically start from, I call this the snake method, right? So you basically start from the top, right, in an uptrend, and you basically from the top, and then you basically trade like this, right? And then wherever you see a sharp curve, you basically know that, okay, this is the higher low. So this is where how I'll just mark my higher low, right? So I'll just mark this as the higher low. This is the higher low, right? So I hope this basically gives you guys a little bit of understanding, right? This is the higher low, this is the higher high, right? So HH is for higher high, HL is for higher low. So now let me give you guys another scenario, right? So let's say, for example, the market does retrace, right? And then from there, it creates a higher high again. Where is the next? Okay, this is going to be the higher high, right? And this is going to be the higher low. How do we know? I repeat, you can still do the same snake method I show you guys, right? Now that you guys basically understand it on the higher time frames, let me show you guys on the downtrend, right? The downtrend is similar to what I just showed you, right? It is actually a little bit similar, right? So it has the same thing. So as you can see, on the downtrend, we have lower lows, lower highs, right? This is a lower high, this is a lower low, this is a lower high, and this is a lower low. So based on the explanation I gave you on the uptrend, I want you basically to show me where is the lower low and the lower high, right? So LH stands for lower high, LL stands for lower low. So basically out of this whole place here in a downtrend, right, we're ascending downwards, where is the lowest point? I'll give you guys 5 minutes to answer this question. Okay, the lower low is basically here, right? Why? Because this is the lowest low. This is the lowest point in this whole move. And then this is the lower high, because this high, right? This is a high, but it is lower than this one. As you can see here, we created a high, but it is not, but it is what? But it is lower than this one. So it's called a lower high. And then same thing for here. this is a high, right? This is a higher low. So as you can see here, we created a low, but this high, this high, this high, this low is high, right? So as you can see here, we created a low, we created a low, but this high, this low is higher than the previous low, right? So that's why it's called a higher low. Now that you guys basic understand that, I'll basically give you guys time to screenshot both of them, so you can go ahead, screenshot the lower high, right, and then screenshot the higher low and the higher high. Now that you guys basic understand that, I'm going to show you guys the other types of market structure, right? As you can see here, I've marked up the shift of structure. You might be asking yourself, what is a shift of structure? Now, a shift of structure is when we stop going up and start going down. So now, for example, just like any other thing, we cannot continuously go up, right? Because we're trading forex pairs, JBP versus the United States dollar. JBP might be stronger for a certain period of time, gaining strength, creating higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. But in some certain point in time, the USD will gain strength and we'll have a shift of structure. So a shift of structure is, for example, when we're going in an uptrend, and then if we do just shift from going up to going down, that's why it's called a shift of structure, you know. So now let me show you guys how a shift of structure is, right? So a shift of structure is when we're in an uptrend. I'll start with the uptrend shift of structure. Let me start with uptrend shift of structure, right? So let's say, for example, it is a higher high, right? Higher low, higher high, higher low, right? We are constantly creating this up step pattern, right? And then higher low, and then this is how it is, right? So now, first of all, I want you guys to mark up your higher highs and higher lows for me. I'll give you guys let me just bring them closer. Okay, so I want you guys to mark them up here. Okay, so this is going to be the higher high, right? And then this is going to be the higher low. Am I right or am I wrong? This is how it is, right? So now, anytime we break this higher low, just know that this is a shift of structure. So this is how the market is supposed. The market can come all the way here. It can come anywhere. It can do anything. It can do anything around this place. It can, but it must never break below the higher low. Once we break below this higher low, we are no more looking for buys. We are now looking for sells. We are no more in an uptrend. We are now in a downtrend, right? So this is not going to be considered a higher low in again, but instead we'll call it a shift of structure, right? So for example, if this happens, just like I explained right now, what will we call this? What will we call this? If the market closes below our higher low line, what will we call this? Can anyone answer this? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you said that we have shifted structure, you are correct, right? Because so this is now a shift of structure. Okay, this is now a shift of structure. So what should you be looking for? You should start looking for sells. Why? Because we are no more up going in an uptrend, we're not going a downtrend. So this is how it will look after that. We'll create lower high, we'll create a lower low, we will create a lower high, we'll create a lower low, we will create a lower high, and then we will create a lower low. Is that easy to understand? If it is easy to understand, just put W's right in the comment section. So now I want you guys to identify the lower lows as well as the lower highs, right? So please, where do you think the lower high is? Right here, right in this downtrend. Remember, we shifted structure from up to down. Where do you think the lower high is out of this whole move, right? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clock your answer. Okay, this is the lower high, this is the lower low. Okay, so if you got this correct, congratulations, you are really stepping up, right? So now, knowing this, that this is the lower low, lower high, and if you didn't know that, you could basically use the snake method, right? So you come to the brush tool, right, and then you basically do it like this, and then anytime you start sharp turn, you know that this is your lower high. Okay, so you mark it up, this is the lower high, right? So now, anytime the market in a downtrend comes, it must never pass this lower high. I'm not saying is it bad for it to pass, no,
but once it passes, it has it has a significant meaning, right? And this meaning is basically telling us that we have shifted structure, we are no more in a downtrend, and we are now buying, right? So this could be a sign for you to stop selling and start buying, right? So that you just wait for it to break again, and then once it breaks, this is normal a lower high, and this is now what? Drum roll, please. Who can guess what this is now? This is a shift of structure. Okay, so I hope that explains everything, right? So now in the next video, I'll be showing you guys candlesticks, right? And then from candlesticks, we'll move on to support and resistance, and then from support and resistance, we'll move on to other things, right? So without further ado, let me end the video, right? So thank you for watching. Stay in for part day 3.